There's a good buzz in the office and on the trading floor this morning. Last night we hosted a big conference and Diana Ross wowed the crowd. Somewhere her song, "I'm Coming Out," plays on a desk speaker. It's still dark here at 5:30 in the morning in San Francisco, but in the financial district, it's busy because it's 8:30 in New York City, and we always work on New York City time. Large video monitors spread around the room show the blue sky over the Hudson and over Manhattan. It's a beautiful day in New York, they say. Financial commentators drone on, and then it all changes. Voices grow silent, and then shouts and cries and confusion. For me, a day of awareness, an awakening of some kind, a day the unthinkable became real, a day that changed my understanding of the world. To that point, I'd only felt what I'll call evil's presence in its passing, and maybe I thought I knew what it was, but I didn't. I think I learned something new about evil that morning, that it exists for its own sake alone. The smoke, the cries, the destruction. Now I have become death, the destroyer of worlds. Those words seem to rise from the scenes playing across the monitors. That morning, as the office erupted into confusion, I remembered a voice coming over the intercom telling us to go home to our loved ones. And as I stumbled back to the subway, seeing the faces of those unaware of what had just happened, I remember wanting to cry out, "Didn't you see? Don't you know?" And I remember how I didn't want to see and I didn't want to know. Later that day, as word came of friends, both safe and gone, I remember realizing how it is possible that another human being would intentionally kill or destroy as many and as much as possible for its own sake. And I recall the words of my grandmother Edna, something she learned and passed on from a time long before any of this, but rang just as true. She said, "Richard, be careful. They'd just as soon kill you as look at you." Evil brushed my face that morning. It touched my forehead, kissed my lips, and was let loose. I think I've sensed its presence since then in legal decisions that tear mothers from children, in the betrayal of trust that begins with an unwelcome touch and ends without conscience or regret, in a knee pressed deliberately to a neck without remorse as life seeps away and a crowd watches. How I wish I could tell Grandma that you're wrong. That's not true. No one thinks or acts like that, but they do again and again. But Grandma, here's what I do know to be true. In this moment, in the middle of what for many are called the days of awe, where both the head of the year, Rosh Hashanah, and the day of cleansing, Yom Kippur, are acknowledged and celebrated, I find renewal, safety, and hope in our temple, in person, again, this morning, or virtually. I am thankful for having made it through those fear-filled days of 20 years ago. And even though in my heart I have new fears about what is coming, I am comforted by the words of an ancient poet. You are my shepherd, and I shall not want. You make me lie down in green pastures and lead me beside the still waters. You restore my soul. You guide me in straight paths for your name's sake. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all of the days of my life, and I will rest in your house forever.